Hey everybody, I'm Sarah, the Real Simple Mama, and this monstrosity is an option for a quarantine pen or a sick pen or a whatever pen, transition pen for your chickens or for your chicks. This is something that actually was on this property when we moved in and started renting, and it goes along with our built-in chicken coop over there, which is amazing. And so I thought I would do just a quick tour if you have some extra wood lying around or you were thinking about options, because this design, I know it looks really quirky, but it's pretty ingenious. So really briefly, why might you want a quarantine pen? And I have done different videos using a big dog kennel as a quarantine pen. I had new chickens coming in, so you have to integrate them into the flock. You can't just drop them in. They need minimum of a week when you get new birds to keep them separate from your existing birds, to make sure nobody has any diseases, just to get everybody used to each other, whatever. As well as if you've got chickens of different ages, you know, if you've got chicks or smaller birds or different species, you need to get them adapted and adjusted to each other. As well as if maybe you've got somebody who's gone broody, or you have one hen with chicks and you don't want the chicks to get hurt. Or of course, if you've got a bird that's sick or injured, you need to get them their own space. So this is just an option because I thought some of the stuff here was pretty clever. So this is sort of on an A-frame design. It does have wheels around it, and it's up on cinder blocks just to give it a bit more height. Again, I didn't build this. I'm not taking any credit. I'm just making a video on it. And so you have to have a place for your chickens to be able to sleep. You have to have a place for them to have food and water that you can access, right, so that you can clean it. And then if you're going to be having birds that are of laying age, you want to have a nesting box type space. So I believe, through looking at this, and I've cleaned out everything that I could reach. One of these doors is stuck, so I have not cleaned out the old, like, loquat leaves and like random junk that's in there. There's an old bowl in there and some other stuff. But what you would want to think of is, okay, for me being able to access this space, because again, if you've got new birds coming in or whatever, you're going to have them quarantined for at least a week. So that's a decent amount of time if you're taking care of birds in a separate space. So they have access, small access doors on both sides. Remember, you want predator locks. I have predator proofing videos if you're interested. Okay, to where this pops down. Yep. That would be a nesting box space that's easy for you to access. They have the exact same thing on the other side. So honestly, what I think I would do is one be a nesting box space, and maybe the other one being food and water, because that's easiest to access. They do have a ramp, as you can see, that they can get into. I'm just showing a little bit of this. They put, I don't know if it's like linoleum, or it's not real tile, but like a linoleum type flooring. I would have that, you know, pine here, you know, pine or PDZ, Paul David Zebra are my cleaning products of choice, because especially pine is really, really cheap, and PDZ is sort of like farm litter. It's very easy to clump and to clean up, so that's something that's good. There is also a board, a wide board that goes across here. That's that piece right there. So if you can see, it fits in like a puzzle piece. So there's the narrow piece that locks it in on both ends, and then it's that 2x4 that's going across. I have videos about everything for coops, like getting the best roosts for your chickens, how to build the perfect coop, you know, what I would do if money was no object. But one thing is, they need a wide roost bar because they like to sleep with their feet flat. They don't perch and grab, so they do need a wide space. So room down under there. I know this is not the recommended minimum of 10 square feet of space per chicken. That is the minimum. And I know if you think about that, that's not that much space. Of course, we want our birds to have a lot more foraging space, room, just so that they don't get bored, they don't get destructive, they don't bully, and so that they don't get overweight. But this would be a temporary holding pen. Again, whether you've got a bird that you need to monitor because they've gotten injured or because they're ill, or you've got new birds and you're trying to make sure, like, hey, you guys okay? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? This does not stay exposed. Of course, I brought down this heavy metal panel, or excuse me, the wood panel, and it fits and sits on here, but it is extremely heavy. Like, I can barely lift it with two hands just because I'm having to lean up over, and it's awkward, so I'm not going to show you that. This is the big door on this side that, like I was saying, I can't open it yet. It's been stuck, so I'm going to have to go after it, but that opens this whole panel. Go back down. So I really like the A-frame style of this. I love that it has wheels on it, because you would like to keep your birds close to each other, especially if it's the new guys, whether it's chicks that are growing out, or like I want to get more chickens in September or October once the weather cools down, that will be theoretically the same age as my existing birds, but still it's like we don't know each other. We're going to have to establish the hierarchy and the pecking order. I need to make sure they don't have any like weird diseases or something I didn't notice when I bought them. So, but it is good for them to be close to each other so they can hear each other, they can kind of see each other. It's kind of like then everybody has an idea of the inevitability of we're putting you in with these other chickens. The things I don't like about this is I would want another access door here, because if I'm having to clean poop or something that's way on this side, my only access to that lower section is either down here through the trap door, you know, through that space right there, or from that door on the very far side that's the reddish gray color. So it's like this zone would be really, really hard to clean. There is no opening on this side and no opening on the opposite except for the top section. Now I'm going to be honest, and I feel kind of stupid. There's the latch here, and I don't know if this is just like an extra predator lock for this cable, and then there's the cable inside. And I haven't figured out yet because I haven't been playing with it and pulling on it, because I don't want the whole thing to be like, oh, this is the collapse button, or this means eject, you know, or whatever. So I haven't played with the cable system. I can't tell yet what the cables are for. It may just be for hanging something, but this is the roost here, so I don't know. A couple of other tips just in general. Again, wheels are a really, really, really good idea for you to be able to move this thing around. Like I said, this one's on cinder blocks, but my real coop is over there. So when we get new chickens, I don't know if I'm going to try to carry this thing and put it over close by, or if we'll just deal with it. I would definitely have lots of access points to where it's easy for you to get to everything, you know, whether it's a chick that doesn't look good, or you know, somebody laid an egg in the wrong zone and you got to grab it, or you're cleaning poop, or whatever the case may be. This thing is great for all the ventilation, but there is no ventilation up top where they're going to be roosting at night. So that's one reason why I'm going to wait until it gets a lot cooler. Hot air rises. You don't want your chickens up here roosting and it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter, because they will keel over and die in their sleep. Trust me, it's happened to one of my girls. The other thing I would be aware of, we're not worrying about that 10 square feet per chicken, so don't worry about that. Do seal all of the wood. Seal everything. You know, you can see this thing is just old. I'm sure it hasn't been used in at least 5 years. So we're going to seal it before we use it. Just, I mean, if you're building something, you're spending money on something, like to me, it's worth it to buy like a really cheap can of sealant. I mean, it's easily less than 10 bucks, and spend the time to spray it or to paint it on. In my mind, if it's a waterproof wood sealer, it doesn't really matter what kind it is, but do everything that's an exterior piece, and you want to do that without your chickens in there, because you need to get away from the fumes until it's dry. And I would put an alarm on your phone or your calendar or whatever to do that every year or two, to reapply that sealant. So I just thought this was kind of a creative idea for a quarantine pen, so I wanted to show you guys. Certainly it's not ideal, but hey, it came with the house, so we will try to make it work if we can. If I keep messing with this thing and I figure out that it's too dilapidated or it's impractical for me to be able to get in there and deal with my birds, then I will pull out the gigantic dog kennel that was over there, and I will put that right next to my chicken coop, and we will use that for our new birds. It would be cramped, but if I've just got 2 or 3 girls and they already knew each other, then, you know, we can deal with it. So I have a new magnolia tree, new hibiscus. You can hear the hummingbirds fighting. So this is just a quick idea. You know, think about what bedding you would want to use. Think about keeping it safe in the rain. Think about ventilation, all the other tips that I mentioned in my other videos, and think about airplanes flying over your house when you're trying to do videos. But just a quick tour, just another option. I thought it was very creative. I'd never seen a design like this before. But tell me what you think in the comments, what you think that cable might be for, other ideas. I'm yelling into my phone. This is ridiculous. I'm Sarah, the Real Simple Mama. Thanks so much for watching.